Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Ben from Universal Audio. Wow, that is big. Let me make that smaller. There we go. Hey guys, I'm Ben from Universal Audio, and welcome to a Luna After Hours. This isn't going to be like our normal office hours that we've been doing for the last week, coming up on a week now. In that I am finally by myself in isolation in my home studio. But I wanted to give you guys something a little bit different than we haven't been able to see yet. Last week, Tom on one of our morning sessions did like a quick little flash mix to really give people a good idea of what the new Summing has to offer. And then on Wednesday night, Fab pulled up a mix that he's been doing. We've pulled up a mix from Vance Powell. Fab actually did a live mix over on puremix.net on Friday. But the focus for so much of our office hours content and a lot of the PureMix stuff is all about kind of answering your guys' questions. So not to be rude, but I'm not going to answer a lot of questions because I thought what would be cool for you guys to see is how an actual mix comes together inside of Luna in real time. So that means kind of focusing on the music, focusing on the sounds, and you guys get to just kind of look over my shoulder. It's kind of over my shoulder, but it's like you're seeing the screen, and yeah, I'll show you guys what's up with this. But if you guys are at all interested in mixing and recording and curious to see what Luna feels like and what it sounds like from like a professional mix engineer point of view, that's what I hope we're gonna kind of get started on tonight. So I've got a fresh song here from a really good friend and artist, Johnny Burgos, homie of mine back in New York City. So he sent me a new track that it's got a really cool kind of old school hip hop feel to it that I thought would be perfect for this demonstration. It's got a lot of drums, it's got some cool bass and guitar stuff going on, really simple keyboards, but it's got a lot of room and a lot of space to explore. So yeah, that's basically the idea here. Is I'm gonna kind of try to focus on mixing, getting some sounds. You guys can chat amongst yourselves in the live chat. I think there might be a few folks from UA, from the normal office hour crew. I think they're going to be online as well. They may be able to help and answer a few questions. But I'll try to take a break every half hour or so and look back through the comments and see if you guys have any good questions that I can directly address while we're mixing. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started on this mix. So let me just share my screen here with you guys. Hopefully that works. So I kind of set a little bit different configuration. Wanted it so you guys could still see what I'm doing a little bit. There we go. But now as much of the screen as possible is focused on showing you guys Luna in the mixer. And let me see, I don't really need my meter there. Cool, so I've done some of the boring housekeeping stuff already. That is importing all my files. That is getting all of the buses set up. And I even did some of the Melodyne tricks. I've definitely been seeing a lot of people asking over our office hour chats, kind of, how does Melodyne and Luna work? It works like Melodyne normally works, which is you put it, I always recommend put it on that first insert of your vocal channel, transfer, record it into Melodyne, and it plays back just fine. But the other thing you're going to notice here is that I have Melodyne, and right after that, I've got Auto-Tune Advanced. Why would somebody need two tuning plugins? Well, because this is the sound. Like you guys, I'll play the song here for you guys in a second. But Auto-Tune, this is the sound, this is the tone, this is the vibe for the track. But at the same time, I want to be able to be sure that we're getting in there with a little bit of extra help from Melodyne, just tucking a few notes here or there, and especially those longer notes. I think Melodyne kind of sounds nice. So yeah. Combination of those two is going to get me the vocal sound I'm looking for. But yeah, so as you look across, it's probably easier to see on this view. So all my drums are this yellow, and then all my subgroups are in the default neon green, and then bass tracks in red, guitar in blue, keyboards in purple, lead vocals in red, and then background vocals in some sort of shade of purple or pink. And finally our main output, and then down here at the bottom of my session, I've got the premixes. These are the roughs that I got from Johnny of the track. So just before we went on air here, I've been sitting on Spotify, kind of warming up my ears. Johnny put together a little playlist of songs to keep in mind as I'm mixing this tune. And some of you are probably pretty familiar with these tracks from J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Anderson .Paak. I would love to play them back for you guys, but I'm pretty sure YouTube and Facebook will just start, block our stream for copyrighted content there. So I'm not going to do that. If you want to check these out, you can check them out on your own. But my ears are all warmed up. I've got the vibe of these in mind. Just a very drum forward, vocal forward, bass, and maybe one harmonic instrument. But let me play this track for you guys so you have a sense of what we're working toward, or sense of where we're working from. And this is one of those songs that it's got a lot of room for interpretation when it comes to the mix. So here's what it sounds like.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, we got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to piss in. Believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only standing it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House for the clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they man. Now whether they fan makes over here tripping. See, we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep in the hate, these kids ain't safe in the school. And believe I hate them, but we can't just blame guns. We walking around them with our face stuck on the screen. Slave to the green, forgotten the dream. Yeah. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, and fly.
All right, so that was the rough plus all the raw tracks all getting some together. So that's not what he sent me. That's like a weird combo of all of them getting smashed together through the mains until the chorus, where I realized I should probably solo that track so you guys can hear it. It's such a cool vibe. It's a cool message of a song. That's kind of the most important part. And this is, if you guys have watched any mixing videos from me before, kind of the most important thing is like, what is the most important thing about the song? That's going to be this lead vocal track. So I'm going to, just like a good hairdresser would do, I'm going to put all of the tracks that don't matter right now to the side. And I love this about Luna, man. You can just come over here, mute, click, drag. There we go. So now all the tracks that don't matter at the moment are out of the way. I just have my two lead vocal tracks and my lead bus soloed up. And this is the other workflow thing that I've been getting used to moving into Luna, is just kind of selecting an area that I want to work on, even whether it's editing or mixing, and then just hitting the E key. And that, boom, brings those regions right into my face, exactly where I want them. So the lead vocal here, there's a touch of overlap between these two. So it's split across two tracks, plus the tone slightly changes here on that lead 2 track. So I have these two bust together. Again, just another thing I love about Luna Man is the fact that I can solo a bus and it automatically solos the tracks that are needed. So like I mentioned, I already went through, I set up the Melodyne last night to make sure everything was all good to go. And then I came in and just put in a reel, just got the scale kind of configured basically for my auto-tune. I'm in the advanced view right now. You guys are probably used to seeing it like this. I like the advanced view because it lets you kind of set chromatic, but then get in here and set the scale exactly how you want it. So this is in A flat minor or G sharp minor. I don't know what monster would want to work in G sharp minor. It's a lot of sharps. So let me just pull this back to the normal view. Retune speed. Let's see what it sounds like where it is just naturally. My hunch is it's gonna be fine.
We got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to piss in. Yeah. Believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only standing it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction.
Yeah, so he's already on. You can see the auto tune just nudging it around every once in a while. But this vocal well recorded. It's got a lot of information kind of in there. Maybe a touch too much S's for me, but overall, it needs energy. It needs a little bit of push. So the best place to start for that is going to be 1176 naturally. And I love this blue stripe, especially for like a lead vocal.
We got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. Yeah, believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only still in it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns.
Great. Now, this is my go-to right here, which is 1176 and doing LA2A. 1176 is doing all the fast movement. LA2A is just there to kind of ride a little bit more gently in between.
We got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. Yeah, believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only still in it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House. The clan is all of they mans, now whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep in the hate, these kids ain't safe in the school. And believe I hate them, but we can't just blame guns. We walking around them with our face stuck all in the screen, slave to the green, forgotten the dream, yeah. We got it conflicted, we hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. Yeah, believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only still in it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they mans, now whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep in the hate, these kids ain't safe in the school. And believe I hate them, but we can't just blame guns. We walking around them with our face stuck all in the screen, slave to the green, forgotten the dream, yeah.
All right, that was a couple quick little moves there. Again, guys, I got work to do. I got to make this mix sound good. So I may not talk through every single move that I do, but hopefully you guys are seeing over there on the screen exactly what's going on. Using that fab filter to just pull out a little bit of little mid-range, little honk thing going on there, and then just boosting up some of the presence around 1800, and that 11K just felt good when I was pushing it. So let's go with that. And then the de-esser there is just to catch any little S's. And often what I'll end up doing is kind of chaining together multiple de-essers if something is super S-y. But yeah, this is already starting to feel pretty good. It doesn't have a lot of space around it yet. And this is something that I'm always, especially in the, hip hop or R&B kind of music, sometimes you want a lot of space. You want to make it really cloudy and hazy around it. Sometimes you just want to build like a very realistic space around it, or just something to kind of give the vocal something to stand in front of. And I think that's kind of the vibe for this one, honestly. So I'm going to hit send plus to create a new bus. We'll call this vocal room. And yeah, may as well have I've got Neve summing, so I may as well use it. And I think it'll be kind of cool, as you guys are noticing, Neve summing's on all these buses already. It's just on its factory default settings. So I've started to use this kind of to help me judge my gain staging. So if I'm driving into any of these buses way too hard, if I see it kind of always living above 0 and hitting that +3 all the time on the Neve summing VU meter, I know I'm hitting it too hard gain stage wise. But the other thing that I've set up last night is kind of my mix bus chain, which is really it should be doing nothing at this point, because the threshold on my SSL compressor is all the way up with the easy attack, a fast release, easy ratio, just a little bit of a sidechain filter, because that's how I do. Going into a massive passive, which is completely on 0 of everything right now, into the fab filter Pro L2, just as like a peak limiter, so that way I don't blow anything out. So yeah, those should not really be affecting the sound that much, other than the little bit of color that the SSL and the massive passive are adding to the mix. And then the main is also the only bus I don't have Neve summing turned on yet. We'll see later on if that feels good. But for all these other buses, even my vocal room, it's kind of like, why not? Why not have a little bit of Neve summing on there? And when I think of a vocal room, What room do I want to put this in? This is one that the 224, the Lexicon. Sometimes I like the 480 a lot, but I also kind of like the 224. And what's super dope about this is all of the presets that guys have made for it. Some of these are really, really cool. So I don't need anything big. Let's try I'm gonna audition presets until I find something I like.
We got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision.
Let me turn. We don't need arm for this session since I'm only mixing.
We got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. Yeah, believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only still in it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they mans, not whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep in the hate these kids ain't safe in the school. And believe I hate them, but we can't just blame guns. We walking around them with our face stuck all in the screen. Slaves to the green, forgotten the dream, yeah.
Hey, there we go. So you heard a bunch of those kind of big pillowy, but then when I got to this one, this mid-tempo snare room, it's adding space around it, but it's not blowing it out.
We got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. Yeah, believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only still in it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they mans, not whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep in the hate these kids ain't safe in the school.
Yeah, that's working for me for now. So that's vocal room. So that's our lead vocal. And the cool thing about that E key thing I was showing you guys earlier is then to zoom back out, all I have to do is press E. And then one quick little E command, and I am zoomed back out. So I'm just going to keep on moving, keep on mixing. Looks like I got another 15 minutes before I have to talk to you guys, which is great. So I'm going to keep talking to myself. So here we got the hook lead. This is a stereo double, 2 takes. Again, they should have Melodyne, and let's see, did I already set up the auto-tune on these as well? Yep. So this is one trick I like to do, especially for anything that's doubled, is it's left and right, is detune my 2 sides a little bit inside auto-tune, because auto-tune is gonna, it's gonna correct, and it's trying to correct to the exact pitch. And when you have 2 doubles that are, recorded in the same chain, everything about them is the same. Sometimes it's a little bit nice to do this, just like pull the left side down 2 cents, the right side up 2 cents. You can do this all the way up to like 4, 5, 6, 7, depending on how thick of a stack you have. But just this little bit of extra difference between your left-right sides through auto-tune. So now we have different performance, different Melodyne, slightly different auto-tune. It'll really help kind of make these 2 takes sound like they are 2 different takes. And let's see what those sound like.
Yeah. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared. So leave the ground, oh.
Nice. So you can hear there's some balanced stuff kind of going on there that I'm definitely going to want to give it a similar treatment to what we were doing over on the verse vocal. Just trying to hold it in a nice spot, because it's got da-da-da. It's kind of you might even be able to see that a little bit in the waveforms. So like some quiet stuff, some loud stuff, and just trying to even that out and give the overall thing a little bit more energy. Let's go. This is kind of my go-to little. This is a little cheat right here. Century Tube channel strip. Tube preamp, really just easy to use EQ, which might look familiar to some of you, and then a opto compressor. So kind of a gentle but very warm and overall very useful channel strip. Let's see if this works for it. If it's not this, it's going to be the SSL channel. But I'm going to give this one first crack.
Yeah. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, yeah, they wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, and fly. Yeah, they wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, and
There we go. So that's starting to hold those two parts together nicely. This is something I just learned on office hours this last week. You've got the power button up at the top of every plugin, which works great for turning on and off a plugin. But sometimes you may notice a bit of a pop with it. Whereas if you use the power button that's inside of any UAD plugin, you get a seamless on-off without any clicks or any other haphazardous sounds. So I'm trying to retrain myself from always reaching for this bypass button and coming into the GUI and actually flipping that switch. So that sounded pretty good, but we're here to learn. I'm learning. You guys are hopefully learning something. So let's bypass that. Good first shot, not bad. And this the SSL eChannel, I use this on everything always. In fact, I've also got a user preset. I only have one user preset, and that's kind of like my starting point. It just turns things on the way I like them to, and kind of has the dynamics set up the way I like. So this way, I'm not working from a already engaged or already kind of preset compressor setting. I'm coming from a 1-to-1 ratio, super fast release, super high threshold. It should never trigger if you're doing it right. And the only reason I'm thinking entertaining this idea is it's a little bit faster of a compressor, but it's also a little bit more flexible of a high pass filter, and obviously some more EQ flexibility. So let's see which one sounds better, and maybe if you guys ask nicely, I'll let you at home vote which one you like better. We'll see, unless there's like a clear winner right now.
Yeah, they wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, and fly. Yeah, they wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh.
All right, remember how good that sounds, because that sounds really good.
Yeah, they wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. Yeah, they wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can.
Type in the chat which one you guys like better, SSL, Century Tube Channel Strip. I've already made up my mind. I know which one's winning, and I know where the other one's going, but I want to see what you guys think. Don't worry, I'll wait. There's a delay. That's why we're waiting. SSL. We got one vote, SSL. Any other votes? It's good time for a little beverage. 2 votes for SSL. 3 votes for SSL. Oh my gosh, there we go. There's a bunch of them. Yep, you guys are all correct. It is absolutely SSL. Oh yeah, hands down, it's SSL, of course. Century did a good job. Did a really good job. I was doing some of the similar moves here, but it's warmer and it's a much smoother kind of sound. So the not winner is getting demoted. It's not even getting demoted. It's just getting shifted over to the left. I'm going to use that as the basis for the hook, like the low vocals and the harmonies and everything that's kind of happening alongside these vocals. So this way, my lead vocals in the hook have that presence, but everything else can kind of have the smoothness and the character that the Century was adding. So yeah, that was a no-brainer. I'm so glad everybody agreed with me. All right, let's give that vocal a little bit of that room sound as well. Just again, the point of this reverb is not to be a reverb, but it is to bring the vocal forward of some sort of imaginary background. And so the vocal room was acting as my imaginary background.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But
Done. That's it. It just needs a touch. But this hook, as compared to the verse is a lot of lyrics, a lot of words. I absolutely do not want to do anything to possibly mess that up. But in the chorus here, it's got a little bit more spaces in between. So that means it's time to add some delay to our vocals. So I set up a vocal delay bus. For the insert, let me go with the one I know best and love. And again, guys, here, Universal Audio, this is our new DAW, Luna. Magic thing about Luna is it works with all AU plugins, so you can use all of your favorite plugins from everybody. And this makes me really happy. So what I can do is on that vocal delay send, what I can now do is I can load up an effect rack from Sound Toys, and I can throw in my favorite delay decapitator into Echo Boy, maybe a touch of micro shift. We'll see if that is necessary as we get there. So as you notice, the tempo for the song is kind of at a double time. That's 146, but everything is it's double what it actually is in terms of 2 and 4. So let's I think we're gonna want technically an eighth note delay for this, but let's see how it feels.
they wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, they wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, and fly. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, and fly. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, and fly. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, and fly. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh.
Yeah, that feels pretty good. It's a little bit muddy, it's a little bit loud, but I'm using that to help find what that rhythm and what that bounce should be on that vocal delay. So now that feels really good, let's try it again. I'm going to bring that fader all the way down. Going to sneak it back up. As you can see, I've got my send kind of configured to, somewhere in this like -4, -3, -4, so that way, if there's other tracks that I want more delay, or as I go back in and want to automate the send, I've got a little bit of headroom to play with. So I'm not, down here at -20 or -30 trying to get the right gain stage into there, but I'm also not blowing it out and losing resolution. So yeah, just kind of find that nice little sweet spot. Because these are analog emulations, so it's going to be adding touches of saturation or harmonics depending on how hard you drive into stuff like the Neve summing or the effect rack. So yeah, let's hear what that sounds like, and I'll just bring that vocal up. This is all going to change once we start getting instruments happening, but if you missed the beginning part of the broadcast, why are we hearing vocals just in solo? Because this is where this mix needs to start. Song is about the vocal, as a lot of popular vocally led songs are. So I want to get the sound of these rocking first, and that's going to make the rest of the mix so much easier. So yeah, let's see what this vocal delay feels like.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground, oh, and fly.
There we go. It might be too much. It might be the right amount. It's hard to tell at this point in time. Let's keep moving. So as you guys can see, maybe you can see this. See that like light blue outline around all these tracks? Now I can turn that on and off by hitting Command G. And what that is, that's selection grouping. So selection grouping means that whatever is selected is going to ride together and die together. They're not going to die together. They're just going to ride together. But they'll also unmute themselves together. So this is all of the background effects for the chorus. Some of these are missing. You know, they got the Century Tube channel strip, so I bet they're gonna feel fine. But I want some auto-tune on those as well. So I learned this in office hours last. This is just me retelling you guys all the cool things I've learned in office hours over the last week or so. Is I can do Command C, or I can hit the copy button over there. Now if I say this auto-tune, I want that one, and then go swipe across. What was that, 6 tracks? I've now just inserted 6 copies of auto-tune with the exact same settings as I had over here on my lead track. That hook lead track. So these are all going to be at that -2 setting. Remember I was going on and on about how cool this slight detune is. So left, right, left, right, left, right. I try to keep things like that. So since this one is also on the left, but it's a kind of a duplicated copy of that lead hook, I'm going to reverse that. So I'm going to go a little up on the left side, a little down, maybe a little bit extra down. And these are like already some kind of almost chop and screw kind of vibe. Let's hear what the sound like.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground, oh.
This one is not. This one has no Melodyne data in it at all. So you know what? We're going to leave that one as is and come over here with our homie little altar boy. Link together the pitch and format. Come down an octave. Let's see how that sounds.
Freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground, oh.
Again, you can use that copy functionality to do sends. Oops. But as you saw there, so I hit plus on vocal room, took it over to this one, but then I wanted to take the delay that I had here on the lead and bring it over here. I clearly just messed that up because I just copied my vocal room onto that. That's the thing with the copy paste and the mixer workflow. If you're going to do that, you decide what is being copied once, and then you tell it all the places you want to go. And if you want to do a different send or a different insert and do the same thing, make sure that you stop copying and start the copying process over again. Never fear, Luna has undo. Command Z. There, I got my vocal delay back. So now I can go Command C for copy that delay over to here. Command C will cancel that out.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground, oh.
Yes. Notice how for that low vocal, I kind of added more room to it, just trying to push him a little bit more back into the room. All right, we're gonna deal with that post chorus. The post chorus I want to be kind of a cool departure from the main sound for all the vocals, and then all the other vocal tracks in here are kind of harmonies and ad libs and stuff that we will worry about later, because I owe you guys a Q&A break. All right, so I'm gonna bust out of my little rear view mirror over here and see if you guys have any good questions for me. Luna on Windows, please. Yes, we hear you guys. And somebody asking kind of about Firewire and the old Apollos. Even up to the first generation, I believe, of Firewire Apollos, you can take the Firewire card out, put it in a Thunderbolt card, and then it's going to work with Luna. It's kind of I don't know too many other interfaces where you can change out how they connect to your computer and still be a relevant interface. Even, what is it, like 8 years now? Like that's remarkable. Let's see. Anybody? Ooh, I see somebody's in here from UA is also helping me out on the comments. I love that. Watching Luna is awesome. I agree. Is it working on Firewire? Nope, it does not work on Firewire. It will never work on Firewire. You need to have Thunderbolt, ladies and gentlemen. It takes a lot of bandwidth and a lot of processing power to do what Luna and Apollo are doing nowadays. And Firewire just does not have that bandwidth. Delay. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys like that delay. All right, any other good questions coming up down here? Is there a way to reverse audio clips? Not yet. If you're in Luna, watch this. I'm going to show you guys how we get reverse clips in here. Don't do too many exclamation points, guys. That's a big point of feedback. Just one. And then maybe a period so they know you're serious. There we go. See, like, went from me being excited and pumped to show you guys how to submit feedback to something a little bit more calm, something that the devs will respond to nicely. And of course, you can also put your name on it. Hit submit. I also want to be able to reverse clips. It's not in V1 right now. How to work the auto tune? How do you work the auto tune? Auto tune, you gotta know the key of the song, and then you gotta kind of know those controls. If you've used auto tune before, all of these are gonna look very familiar. Take it out of advanced view. Retune speed. This is how fast it snaps to the pitch. Flex tune it kind of allows the algorithm to be a little bit more relaxed now and then. It sounds a little more human. If you're trying to mix hip hop or R&B. They don't use a lot of flex tune. Pro tip. How much humanized do they use? Very little. How much natural vibrato? Usually none. For all of the hip hop and R&B stuff I've ever mixed, the only control you really mess with is retune speed. And when you want the full T-Pain, you go to 0. When you want the I don't want anyone to know that I used auto-tune on this track, you go like 40 to 60 in a really relaxed area. And then if you want a little bit more present, a little bit more pop, hip hop kind of vibes, that 10 to 20, that's where it's starting to feel a little bit sharp. You're starting to get the very classic auto-tune sound without it being overdone or underdone. And that's like the 1 minute tip for auto-tune advanced. Can you mix vocals with drums? Oh yeah, for sure, man. We're going to be doing the drums next, because it's been a lot of vocal. It's been listening to a lot of Johnny and solo. I hope it's got a dope voice, but this is the heart of the track is this top line. So we really wanted to make sure we started here. Try to finish the song to go to mastering. I am doing exactly that. We may not get all the way to finish tonight, but that's good news for you guys, because that means I'm gonna have to come back and do another session. So I'm trying to be thorough here. A little bit more thorough than just kind of showing you guys, a lot of our demos and a lot of other mixing sessions that you'll see. We just try to go fast to show you guys and give you guys some inspiration, some ideas on how to do this stuff. But I've got real work to do. I owe Johnny a mix on the song. So for sure going to try to go as far as we can with it. No key inputs for compressors, external side chaining, all that stuff. Not in V1, but again, if that's a feature that you rely on, hit the feedback tool. I am not going to submit feedback for that one, because I don't find myself very often using sidechain. And there's wonderful dog Juno. Can I stretch? Yeah, I can stretch MIDI on audio. Can you use console one, SoftTube console 1? Nope, not yet. How do you access audio files? They are embedded inside of the session file, which makes it really a nice tidy folder. You're never losing files by them being randomly placed around your computer. But it also means that when you want to get your audio files out of a session, you're going to use the bounce down trick. And I believe you can also, double check this, you can right clip. So this, pro tip here, guys. So you can come over here, I can hit Command Option B, and I can mix down a single track, and that will export the track with all the effects, unless I tell it not to. So I can say kick track. All right, let's say I want to export that kick for somebody else to take a crack at. I can hit bypass effects, and it would bypass all those effects, and then export just the kick track. However, there's an even faster way, especially for a session like this. All I have to do, select that audio track file, right click, export clip. It'll export just that clip, the raw clip, off of my timeline into a folder. I know that we haven't done that one on office hours yet. Maybe I'll bring that up with the guys tomorrow. Lots of questions. Inputting instruments against signal but no sound. Maybe show quickly how to output monitors versus mains or another session. I would love to. Let me keep focusing on mixing for now, guys. We're going to do a bunch more MIDI stuff. Even tomorrow, we're going to show some loop-based production workflows. I'm sure instruments will come up on that as well. All right, last question. Is there a way to insert external hardware such as your favorite UAD, it'd be a UA hardware compressor? There are not hardware inserts, where you can just say, go out this input, come back on this one, and come back up in my session. Those do not exist yet in Luna. Let me show you guys how we fix this problem. There you go. I need hardware inserts, please. 1 exclamation point. And thank you. Luna rocks. Stuff like that. Just words of encouragement go a long way along with your feedback, guys. Add your name, submit. This is how we're gonna get all these awesome features that both me and you guys are looking for. Not for this mix, but I've been toying around with the idea probably maybe next week or the week after. Maybe if you guys are enjoying this format and this idea of a little after hours, a little hangout where I work and you watch, I might do one with analog summing, kind of integrated inside of Luna. It's not officially supported yet, but there's a pretty easy workaround that gets exactly what you and I and everybody else that loves summing needs to do. But until that time, we're going to rely and love our Neve summing that's built into this DAW. Not DAW, it's a recording system. All right, guys. Man, lots of questions. It looks like we got some homies that are helping out with the chat. So I'm gonna, I would love to answer every single one of these guys, but I'm gonna get back to work a little bit and check back in for more questions in like 30 minutes. But good news for all of you is that we're not gonna just listen to vocals anymore. Let's add some bass because it's gonna be super easy. Unmute my bass. This is my sub bass and my bass group. Select the tracks, hit E. Now I can see them nice and clearly.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, we got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh, we got.
That sounds good. The oxide tape, guys. Do not, whatever you do, don't sleep on oxide tape because that one works great. I love me some Studer, but I also love that oxide. I'm just gonna fix that little clip that I did not clean up in Pro Tools.
Leave the ground. Oh, we got it conflicted.
Perfect. What do you want to bet that happens again somewhere else? No, that one's clean. I was like, I cleaned this pretty good. Yep, those are good. So I'm quickly zooming in and out the way that I know best, which is R and T. So it's like two little fingers here, R, T, in and out. That's kind of the way I've just always done it. But luckily they're right next to the E key, which also helps you explode tracks or parts of tracks. So for now, man, like sub bass, how do you mix sub bass and make it sound good? Do as little to it as you possibly can. Bass sounds good when it's big and loud and it's given a lot of freedom in the bottom end of your mix. And most often, all you really need to do to it is kind of add a little bit more saturation, a little bit more harmonics to help it speak, especially on smaller speakers or iPhones or laptop speakers. The only way that bass, especially sub bass, comes out on those is if it has upper harmonics added to it. So oxide and Neve, those two things together, kind of handling that. On top of, I'm pretty sure the sound, even without any saturation or anything, already had some good harmonics content to it. Let's verify that fact.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can.
Yep, it's got a bunch of it. And for those of you who are having trouble hearing that,
They wanna see us down, so we.
So there's a way to freeze. I know there's a way to freeze this.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can.
Yeah, there's a way to freeze it. I just don't remember how to do this in FabFilter. Oh, here it is. Freeze.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can.
Not a good way to freeze it and really show you guys what I'm trying to talk about. But you can see there's a big bump, and then there's multiple bumps above that bump. That first bump, that's the bass. That's the meat. That's the boom, boom, boom. Everything above that is that's kind of derived and harmonically related to what's happening on that bottom. But all that higher stuff is what's really important for standing out on other speakers.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound.
All right, so that's a beautiful amount of harmonics. I doubt you're going to be able to see this on the analyzer, guys, but these two should just be adding to that.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can.
Yeah, it's adding just a touch of warmth, and the oxide's got a nice head bump, so it adds a little bit more low end. So it's kind of like adding a low end EQ plus some saturation. It's everything that you can want and more. I'm just going to leave this EQ on there for later in case I need it. All right, the next thing that's probably really important is to get the keyboard. These are some really wacky and cool keyboards through the verse into the chorus. Let's hear what they sound like. Yep, that is some crazy reverse patch. Probably like some Omnisphere or something. So what do I hear? The first thing I hear is there's some like subharmonic stuff that's kind of weird. You'll see it here on the analyzer, all this low and it feels like air pushing on my ears. And this is, as you can hear, all the actual content of that sound is there's not really meant to be low end content on that. So high pass everything. So you can see there, I'm sweeping around, just seeing if there's anything to pull out of it with the EQ. And the moment I try pulling something out of that with EQ, it just becomes sharp and a little bit piercing. So that is not the trick. So I'm gonna use this EQ just to roll off that low end. But then let's get in there and get the sound is begging to be weird, so I'm gonna get weird along with it. And again, I'm gonna use what I know best, and that is some Sound Toys effect rack. And now this is on the insert. This is not set up in a send, so my wet dry very much matters. Okay. We're getting somewhere. It's going to a place. So that's working for me from adding some space and some differentness to it, but it's jumping in and out, maybe a little bit too much. So I'm gonna go back to my friend Century, because again, this is gonna add some harmonic interest to it with its built-in tube preamp, but it's also kind of adding some gentle optical compression to it, which should feel good, I think, for this.
Sometimes we got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. Yeah, believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only still in it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they mans, not whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep in the hate, these kids ain't safe in the school. And believe I hate them, but we can't just blame guns. We walking around them with our face stuck all in the screen. Slaves to the green, forgotten the dream, yeah. They wanna. We got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. Yeah, believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only still in it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they mans, not whether they fan base over here trip.
There we go. You guys feeling that now? Like how it's it still has its motion, it still has that curve, which I know there's a reason why they picked that patch, because it has that. But at the same time, it's getting a little bit more consistent, a little bit easier to hear, a little less peaky and like popping out, while still, popping out enough. So that feels good from like a delay, tone, compression kind of point of view. But what it's definitely missing is some plate. So I love me some pure plate. Let's hear this.
We got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. Yeah, believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only still in it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they mans, not whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep in the hate, these kids ain't safe in the school. And believe I hate them, but we can't just blame guns. We walking around them with our face stuck all in the screen. Slaves to the green, forgotten the dream, yeah. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground, oh, and fly.
So you get a big contrast, right, between the hook and the verse ones. The verse ones got a lot more effects on them, which sound dope. But then when it gets to the chorus, it gets a little bit more straight ahead.
Dream, yeah. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground, oh, and fly. Dream, yeah. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can.
Yep, that is at least a place to start. And this is I'm probably going at like half the speed I normally go, because I'm trying to stop and actually, talk to you guys a little bit and give you guys some ideas about what I'm doing here. But again, I'm building the mix around the things that are, stick out to me the most right away. And that, again, that's why we started over in the vocal, got the leads feeling good. Got those first couple of low harmonies kind of working, and then things I know that are going to get tricky is like that post-chorus. We got some cool guitar stuff that we're going to come back to in a second. But now, the moment you've all been waiting for, or I don't know if you've been waiting for this, but I've been waiting for it. It is time to do some drums. So let's turn my snap on. So to quickly kind of select this chorus area and just loop it up. so I can hear the drums nonstop. Hit the little loop play record right here. And there's a shortcut for that. That is Option L. Option L. No. Command L. Control L. Yes, I don't know my symbols and controls. So Control L, that loops it up. And now let's switch back here to the mixer real quick. We're gonna pretend like we never heard those before. Turn the bass off. Turn my two leads off. Leads. Turn off all those backgrounds. So now we're gonna kind of work the opposite. I always personally kind of resonate with the analogy of like mixing is a lot like getting a haircut. You got to start somewhere, but then you got to put all the rest of it to the side so you can work on this part. So we've been working on the top and kind of some of the fancy stuff, some of the things that really matter. But now we got to tighten up the edges and work on the foundation a little bit. So that's going to be the drums. Right now they're just routed into a single bus, and we'll see. You'll see my philosophy about mixing drums here really fast, and that is to do as little as humanly possible and just make it about the balance of the raw tracks, and then do a decent amount of parallel compression and saturation and effects on more of a group level. So let's see what Fat Kick sounds like. It sounds very quiet because I muted the drum bus. Okay. I would vote that Fat Kick is not a super fat kick yet. But it's also kind of clipped out. So, it's clipping the meters right from the get-go, and that is not a bad thing. It is just kind of starting from the very top edge of where the gain stage should be. So by coming into the edit view here, just click gaining that down, 4 or 5 dB, something like that. It gives me a little bit more headroom on my fader. And it gives me more headroom for effects, such as oxide tape. Here, adds a touch bottom, but that's nothing compared to this guy, the voice of God. This is the bass drum saver for all time. There we go. Now we're getting some low end. Let's see how that is marrying up with the sub bass. Pretty good. And so maybe this is another little hot tip for hip hop and R&B mixing, is that the kick sub bass relationship, you got to be really mindful of how you do it and who wins in the low end side of things. So it's very clearly on this one, the bass is our bottom, and this kick is supposed to have some bottom as well, but definitely they don't need to compete down there. I know a lot of people love to use side chaining to do this, but I just do it with tone, with EQ and balance, and shared compression is kind of how I like to get that effect. So we'll get into that as we keep on moving forward, but at least now this kick sound doesn't sound like a little tiny box. It sounds like a bigger box, which is fine for what we're doing. Activate my loop there. All right, just I'm going to keep on bringing tracks in, kind of keep on seeing what we got, and then then we'll get into the fun processing part about the drums. it said snare rolls. There was no rolling of any snares in there, so I renamed it. Again, any tracks that aren't really involved with this chorus, I don't really care about at the moment. Zooming in for waveforms, by the way, guys, if you're having trouble seeing where there's activity, Option, Command, and then the bracket keys will exaggerate those or lessen those for you. Let's hear these hats. So I have one thing I love the most in the world, and that is autopan, man. Ever since I've heard, ever since I heard my very first autopan, I've always, I just love that sound, dude. It does so much to add motion to hi-hats. So let's try out a couple of these different presets in the hats and see if adding a little more left-right motion feels good. There we go. Let's hear them by themselves. Cool. That works. Maybe not so hard left, right? There we go. Oh, this is so great. I looked over for one moment, and of course, I see a very familiar name and there in the chat. We've got Johnny Burgos. Shout out to my man, Johnny. This is his song. This is his track, and I am getting real-time mix feedback via the internet along with you guys. So love a good phaser on those hats. I hear you, brother. I hear you. So yeah, I love that the site what the panner is doing too, because it's adding left-right motion. But he points out a very good point that especially for trap inspired hi-hat patterns similar to this one, you cannot go wrong with adding a little bit of a phaser to it. So I pulled open the effect rack, threw down a phaser, And now those are feeling just about right. Dope. Okay, so now I'm going to back up and just, my whole goal right now with the drums is just to get everything unmuted, get everything at least playing a part in the mix, a little bit of a balance. As you guys can see, every time I'm doing something, if I hear something, I just do it. Especially for drums, it's a lot about, does something need to splash into that plate, or does something special need to happen to it at this point? Because we're about to get into the fun part of the drum processing, which is all the parallel fun. So yeah, let me keep on undoing the hair bun and open this up. Nice. Here we go. This is actually a trap roll. So I can zoom into that. Give it a little clip gain, zoom back out of it. I'm just using the E key to do that stuff real fast. Just kind of add that plate for this part. Sounds good. Let's see what the snap's all about. All right, cool. And let me just get this last kick. This is for that post-chorus. We're definitely dreaming of this part when the mix is all happening to kind of get spaced out a little bit. So let's see how it's already feeling. All right, so that one's suffering from the same thing that Fat Kick was, where it's just, it got brought in really hot. So I brought that down like 9 dB. That's good as a good place to start. So giving myself a little more headroom because I definitely want to crank some more low end on that part. That's where the bass drops out. So this kick is now responsible for all of the low end duties. Let's see, again, there's some Vogue. Here we go. Now that is a punishing amount of low end coming out of that kick. It's also kind of a sparse part of the song, so let's give it some plate. I don't know about you guys, but like those drums are starting to feel really good in my headphones. But all I want to do is turn them up. Like I literally actually just reached over right now and just turned up my headphones a little bit, which is a good sign. That's what you want to have. You want to have more drums. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. So there's a lot of, there's just a ton of different ways. So basically what I want to do right now is I want to set up some parallel compression schemes. So I can do that in a multitude of ways. But this is kind of one of my favorite ways of doing it that I picked up from Vance on his mix that he did for the Rival Sons. Is it's really easy in Luna to quickly assign a track to multiple outputs. So right now all these drums are being fed out into M drums for my master drum fader. So now if I want to make drum slap, I can make I just made a new bus. I'm hitting Command Shift N to make a new track, Command down, down to get to buses. And this allows you to just make a bus without assigning anything into that. So I've made my drum slap. Let me make my drum crush. And I think between those two, we're going to be fine. So the slap gets the slap plugin, which is DBX 160. A transient response in that is absolutely insane and so good. Now for the crush, we got some options here. Once again, I'm feeling inspired by the homie Vance. So I'm going to start with the Fatso, which can really give you a good crush kind of sound. But there's a lot of options for that one usually. But not everything deserves to be punished the way I'm about to punish these drums. So let's be selective here, guys. Let's go kick. I think all the way down into my rolls, maybe into the hats, bongo. This is just kind of some of that high percussion stuff. Sometimes when you put it through things that are highly transient, like what we're about to set up here, it can actually get a little too spicy. You know what I'm saying? This chant up to the breath. So my hunch is I want everything from here to here. So bongos up through to the kick, kind of the meat and potatoes of these drums. And I think probably live percussion will sound good through these two. So now that all these tracks are selected, let me make sure. I've got selection grouping on. So Command G until you see the blue outline around it. That means anything that I do to these tracks will be done to all of them. Click on the output, and then I press Shift and select. They're already going through M drums, so now I hit Shift. Now they're going to drum slap and M drums. If I do it one more time, now they're going to all three of those buses, and you can see in the outputs here, now it says multiple, except for the ones that are just going to the dry drums. So let's work on the slap first. That's it. All I care about is seeing that needle move nice and fast. Let's see what it looks like here for the chorus. Totally destroyed, but it's really focused on that transient sound. And obviously you're hearing the plate reverb is now exaggerated because I've taken away the dry signal for the drums. But no one ever gets to hear your drums. No one ever gets to hear your drum processing in solo like you guys are getting to hear right now. So I know from doing this so many times, that is definitely that's the about the right amount of slap. But now let's check out the crush. So this is now the Fatso. And with this one, I'm just trying to blow it out of the water. I'm just trying to have this very warm, very compressed, very distorted, and let's go all those buttons in. Let's see what this sounds like. Again, never let your clients hear these by themselves because either A, they'll want so much more of it in the mix because it sounds fun and exciting, but also they also make it really afraid. They're like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. That sounds distorted and crappy, and like it's just all blown out. No, I don't want that from a mix. And I know in this case my client is literally here watching it with us, but Johnny and I have done so many records together. He knows my protocols here. So yeah, we set those things up, and then now I know I've got these colors. So I've got my dry drums. I'm going to start with those just at unity, and I'm going to bring up the slap and the crush up underneath that. And let's hear this along with the sub bass, so we're getting the relationship between all these working together. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So now those things are kind of working together. Gain stage wise, I'm feeling a little bit on top of where I want to be. And I've explained this, I think, in other videos or live streams before, but essentially the SSL compressor for me, this is kind of helping me judge where I'm at gain wise. So the threshold's all the way open. I can't get less compression than what I have now. So as I'm listening and as I'm seeing this, I'm pushing the edge. I'm pushing the edge of good taste here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take the drum faders and that bass fader. I have selection grouping on, all those selected. I'm just going to trim them down. I'm just going to bring it down like a couple of dB, just so I'm coming into that compressor a touch lower, give myself a little more headroom later on in the mix. It's just a couple dB down, but I still want to be kissing this meter a little bit, but I don't want to be making out with it yet. That's for later. All right, cool. It says my timer says it's time for a Q&A break. So hit me with some questions, ladies and gentlemen. How do you use the sends or FX channels? How do you use the sends or FX channels? The easiest way is to hit plus on a send and either select a bus that you've already created, or even easier, hit the plus button here, name your bus, and then now you've got a bus setup that you can send into from any track. That's an easy one. That was a gimme right there. Any plan to integrate a score view into Luna and traditional notation? It's not here in V1, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record for it, but if that's something you guys want to see, hit the feedback button and let us know that you want to see a score view inside of here. Personally, I'm a note roll and MIDI editor kind of guy until I need to print out parts for somebody else, in which case I would give a MIDI file to somebody with Sibelius or Finale, or a actual notation program to really crank that out. Will UAD offer Luna to accelerator card or external accelerator owners? Luna requires Apollo to do what it does. A lot of the mixer routing, a lot of all the low latency workflows, those require Apollo. So it isn't just a thing where you can run this program without an Apollo attached. You actually need an Apollo, otherwise the whole output section of the mixer has nowhere to go. So yeah, if accelerator and PCI card for UAD accelerators, they're useful once you have Luna. For instance, I'm running this off of an X16, a X8. I've got 2 satellites and a twin in the back of my room. So I've got a ton of horsepower, and having those satellites really adds a lot of DSP power to my system. But Luna, as the ground rule, it needs an Apollo in order to run. What plugin do you use to enhance those drum transients? Well, today I was using the DBX 16C and the Fatso. Another one I really like, might feel pretty on the nose, but that would be the SPL Transient Designer. And even I might park it there on that slap channel just in case I want to come back later and add even more, because this is just one of the funnest, easiest to use plugins in the bunch. Dial up some attack, pull down the sustain, you're good to go. Talk about grouping or sidechain. Well, grouping, I've been kind of trying to do this all in context for you guys, but grouping, right now Luna has a thing called selection grouping, which means when you hit Command G, you'll see this blue outline around my tracks. That means that these are now grouped together. Whatever move I do to one, it happens to all of them. And there's no sidechain support in V1. If that's something that's important to you, hit the feedback button. Tell us that you want some sidechain support. But until then, we'll keep on moving. Will Luna be replacing console for Apollo interface users? No, it adds to console. Console is actually running right now for me in the background here. This is how you guys are able to hear my voice, is through this microphone. So it's still useful for that. But also Luna's doing some really magical kind of in the background console stuff So yeah, console's not going away, and it's also very useful if you want to be using Luna as well as other DAWs like Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton or anything else. You're going to need console to be able to use real-time UAD processing in those applications. So yeah, console sticking around. How does pre-fader work in Luna? Well, pre-fader works by clicking on the diamond over here, going to settings, going to options, and telling it what type of metering you like. I'm team post fader. I like to know when I'm mixing exactly what level I'm sending out into the rest of my mix. But for tracking purposes or otherwise, you can also select pre-fader metering here in the options. How loud am I listening in the headphones? As reasonably as I can possibly handle. When you're mixing for a lot of hours, it's really important to not blow your ears out. So don't listen too loud ever. Or if you do, just do it momentarily to get a vibe and then turn it back down. Because again, the song has to sound good when it's blasting, but it also has to sound good when it's kind of, when the volume isn't actually up. I need it to sound like it's up. Does that make sense to you guys? This is going to play back on people's iPhones or on their laptops, and those are small speakers, potentially really quiet. The song needs to carry energy, needs to carry excitement and volume, even when it's coming out of quiet speakers. Plus, it's good for your hearing, so just always try to monitor as low as you can stand. And it's good best practice right there. How you set vocal chain on RealVerb? Won't get to that today. Are you still going to EQ the drums? I might EQ the drums. So far, I don't hear anything in the drums that is begging for EQ. Besides the low end stuff I was doing on the kick drums, because they were screaming for more low end. I'm way back on the chat. Here we go. Do you use the stereo imager to center each sound during the mix? No, I don't typically do that. A lot of times on my mix bus, I might use like the Brainworks Digital V2, which has got a nice mono sum thing if I'm feeling like it's too wide, but otherwise it's a sound by sound decision. If something's super wide and makes my head turn sideways because it's all out of phase, then yeah, I'd get in there and fix it with something, but otherwise no need to. Will there be a hard copy manual on how to use Luna? No, it will always be online documentation. You can get to there by hitting help, go to Luna documentation, opens up. I've got like 1,000 tabs. You guys don't need to see my calendar. But it's right here in the help menu, Luna documentation. Opens up in the web browser. You can read through it there. It's very much on purpose because Luna is growing and changing. So rather than committing to cutting down so many trees, we committed to updating our documents on a regular basis. Audio to MIDI audio to MIDI is not in version 1. Audio to MIDI is not in version 1. If you need audio to MIDI, there's other workstations that will do that for you at the moment. Do third-party VSTs work in Luna? VST? No. AU? Audio unit plugins? Hell yeah. Both instruments and plugins. Guys, no need for the all caps. I know. Trust me, I've been reading the same questions for over a week. Am I going to do parallel compression on the lead vocals? What compressor am I going to use? Possibly. My philosophy when it comes to compression is the less of it that you use, probably for the better. I don't do anything just because that's how I have to do it, that's how I've always done it, or because other people say you got to do these things. I'm using my ears, man. It's always, what does this actually need right now? And sometimes, when you think you need a compressor, what you actually need is EQ and vice versa. But right now, like, my job as a mixer is to maximize the energy and fun and awesomeness that is in the song. I've already added, I've done a lot of, this is all to say, I've already done a lot of compression on those vocals. So you guys saw what that 1176 and LA2A combo was doing, plus a de-esser after that. Like, that's a lot of dynamics control already happening. That's adding a lot of energy and feel to those vocals in the verse, which is a great way for me to get back to work. I really appreciate all the questions, guys. This is hopefully you guys are having fun watching me work here. And yeah, I'm trying to answer questions, but also trying to get some stuff done and really show you with no smoke and mirrors here exactly how a mix happens. And it is not always the fastest process. So probably going to run out of time tonight getting through the whole mix, but that's, like I said, that's good news for you guys, because that means I'm going to come back and do some more. But for right now, let's hear what this verse sounds like. We're at bass, drums, keyboards, and lead vocals right now. That's all we have. It should feel pretty good. It should feel good with just these elements. And there's some sick guitar and bass stuff that you guys haven't, or if you were around at the very beginning, you heard the rough mix. But yeah, there's even more to this track that we haven't explored yet. So yeah, let's just hear where we're at. Yeah, and guys, thank you so much for all the questions. This is super cool. I'm gonna go back and mix, and then we'll maybe do one more quick little Q&A at the end. Yeah, hope you guys are enjoying it. So here's what it sounds like: drums, bass, keyboards, lead vocals.
We got it conflicted, we hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. Yeah, believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only still in it, just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they mans, now whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep and I hate these kids ain't safe in the school. And believe I hate them, but we can't just blame guns. We walking around them with our face stuck on the screen. Slaves to the green, forgotten the dream, yeah. See us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground, oh, and fly.
Ooh, okay. So as you guys heard, vocals were a little bit loud compared to the drums. Drums and bass are kind of working together, but again, this is mixing. This is what the job is. It is blending together multiple different elements from different tracks, making them all sit together in a fun way that adds energy and life to the mix and to the song, and helps deliver the message of the song, which, especially for this one, is mega important. So the drums sounded pretty good, but they were a little inconsistent feeling, was my feel there. We're not done yet.
To leave the ground, oh. We got it conflicted, we hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they mans, now whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep and I hate these kids ain't safe in the school. And believe I hate them, but we can't just blame guns. We walking around them with our face stuck on the screen. Slaves to the green, forgotten the dream, yeah. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground, oh, and fly. They feeding us garbage, we eating regardless. You are what you eat, hard to compete without owning your harvest. See, government is monopoly, concerned with their pockets and not the needs of the people. And this kind of evil is what they want us to not believe. And the proof is plain to see, it's how this nation came to be. We living in shame, ain't nothing gonna change till we face our roots in slavery. Ooh, that guilt is heavy, man, but nothing more deadly than being young, brown, or black and American. I'm mixed, but I ain't gassed. My skin's so light, I pass. Mostly it is privilege, but me it was something that I never fit in. Conflicted existence, stick out in my family's image. But as long as them odds are stacked, I'ma keep riding for my better half. Come on. They wanna see us down, they wanna see, so we stay freedom.
catching a vibe on that. So let's hear. I've been talking so much about these guitars the whole time, but y'all haven't gotten a chance to listen to them at all yet. So these are some DI. So I remember these are DI guitars because the Pro Tools session that Johnny sent me still had like a Fender 55 and I think a guitar rig on some of these, which is fantastic. I love receiving guitars this way because it gives me, as the mixing engineer, the chance to totally shape the tone from the get-go. So let's hear what that main guitar riff sounds like. It sounds really quiet because I muted the group. Cool. And what they had on there was this. So this is, you gotta, especially when you're working with artists or session musicians, you gotta really respect what inspired them and tone-wise. So what I remember from that session was that it had the Fender 55 Tweed on it. My preferred combo is to go with the 57-67 kind of vibe here. Just keep those two there, and let's see how that sounds. Yeah. Ooh. If you guys haven't already checked out the Fender 55, you should, because it's one of the greatest guitar amps in existence. And what I love about it is just how you can get complete different tones just by switching around the speaker. So the JP12, that's the default that comes up. It sounds good. The JB120 has got that really cool low end kind of thing to it. And the GB25 is also it's three good ones. You can't go wrong, but I do need to make a decision for this part. And the goal is to have it be saturated, almost quasi-distorted in a way. So that's sounding good, but at the same time, I want it to speak, but don't want it to feel, this isn't a rock song. This is still kind of a cool hip-hop, R&B kind of track. Yeah, so it's just like three totally different dynamic responses. That GB25, when I switched it out, I was like, oh wait, that low end of that's kind of blowing it out in a weird way that's not going to cut through the track later on. So yeah, JB120 it is, with a decent amount of drive, just rolled the tone back a little bit, but with the two brighter mics. So it's just this weird, fun balancing game between all those. Let's see what's along with it at the beginning. I think it's slow. Yep. So there's this live bass part that kind of accompanies it here in the intro, and also when it comes back in the second verse. So something like that. Prime candidate for the SVT. And like this one, there's the SVT-R and there's the SVT Classic. They're both great. Classic has less options, and the full one has more options. I don't know which one I'm going to need for this one. Let's hear it. Sounds great. Just really loud. So the cool thing about the DI is like you get tons of the finger, whereas when you throw that through the amp, you start getting a little bit less of that. So we got to find a good balance here. Oops. There we go. See how that fits with the guitar.
They wanna see us down. So
I'm glad you guys hear the Spider-Man thing too. That was the first time I heard the rough on this. I was like, yo, the Spider-Man flip. I love it.
round, oh, we got got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Chasing an image without a vision, no pot to pissing. Believe I'm no different. Sometimes I feel like I'm only still in it. Just think about money and bitches. We doing all the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan bound. Oh. We got it conflicted. We hate ourselves more than the system. Got in a dream, yeah. They wanna see us down. So we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then let's hear this guitar break. Let's see what that guy's got.
Tripping, see we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep in the hate, these kids ain't safe in the school. And believe I hate them, but we can't just blame guns. We walking around them with our face stuck all in the screen, slaves to the green, forgotten the dream, yeah. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh. The heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they man, not whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they man, not whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for the heavy lifting. They keep us complacent. Materialism, religion, addiction. The freedom is fake when conviction is based on fitting description. And the White House full of clowns. The ringleader want the crown. The clan is all of they man, not whether they fan base over here tripping. See, we been played for a fool, following these made up rules. And the police stay so deep in the hate, these kids ain't safe in the school. And believe I hate them, but we can't just blame guns. We walking around them with our face stuck all in the screen, slaves to the green, forgotten the dream, yeah. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh.
Now we're cooking with something. Yeah, man, that Fender is just crushing it. And as you can see, each one of these tracks is getting a slightly different tweak on that Fender. Some are a little bit cleaner, some a little brighter. Yeah, but having this level of control over the tone at the mixing stage, you don't get it every time, but when you do, you gotta really cherish it as a mixing engineer / producer, because this is your chance to really kind of push it record in one direction or another, harmonically.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. Nothing can keep us down. We ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down. We ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound. But nothing can keep us down if we ain't scared to leave the ground. Oh. They feeding us garbage, we eating regardless. You are what you eat, hard to compete without owning your harvest. See, government is monopoly, concerned with their pockets and not the needs of the people. And this kind of evil is what they want us to not believe. And the proof is plain to see, it's how this nation came to be. We living in shame, ain't nothing gonna change till we face our roots in slavery. Ooh, that guilt is heavy, man, but nothing more deadly than being young, brown, or black and American. I'm mixed, but I ain't gassed. My skin so light, I pass. Most see it as privilege. For me, it was something that I never fit in. Conflicted existence, stick out in my family's image. But as long as the malls are stacked, I'ma keep riding.
All right. What am I doing here, guys? So coming up here on my 2 hour mark, I've got dinner. I've got other things to do this evening. I would would love to keep on hanging out here and mixing all night long, but I can't. Which is, like I said, it's a bummer that we couldn't finish this whole mix in 2 hours, but that's also real life when I'm trying to talk and also answer questions every once in a while. But I did want to kind of wrap it up around into a bit of a point, and kind of leave us in a good spot to pick up next time. So one of those things is kind of looking at my main bus. As you saw, I inserted another limiter. This is a trick I've been doing for years of using the Oxford limiter. Again, kind of as my another way to kind of judge where I'm at gain stage wise. So the SSL compressor, this is here. I just want to be kissing that meter a little bit. And as you can see now, I've added in guitars, drums. I've kind of boosted some things up. I'm now hitting that a little bit more than I really wanted to. So I could go back, selection group, bring all those faders down a little bit. But what I can also do is go up here and add that Neve summing. Neve summing's got two very handy controls. One of them is HR, which means headroom. You'll notice there's also HR here on the SSL compressor, which I could adjust to help solve my problem, but I wanted to show you guys how to do this with the Neve summing. So HR, headroom, this is basically the operating level for that. So as you heard, when I crank it all the way to the right, it's crazy distorted or crunchy. That's because it's brought the operating level, I think, down from 4 dB all the way to 28. So it's 24 dB difference between the two. That's why you can get really crunchy, really nasty with it if you need to. But in my case, on the mix bus, I've got Neve summing happening everywhere else in the session. So when I bring that headroom control all the way down, I want that to be as clean and open as possible. And then also I'm using this trim to bring back my level going into the SSL. So if I option click on that, you guys can see I'll play back the chorus here. And as I pull that trim down, I'm just hitting my compressor and my whole 2-bus chain a little bit softer and softer.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down. We ain't scared to leave the ground, no, and fly. They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down. We ain't scared to leave the ground, no.
There we go. So now I'm hitting this, it's like hitting around that 4 area. I'm getting that 1-2 bounce, which I like. And when I bring it in and out, I like what I'm getting. Vance also hit me to the low impedance mode, especially on the master bus. Sounds very good. It gives it a little bit more gain, but it sounds really good. So now the Oxford compressor should not be doing.
They wanna see us down.
It's doing a little bit of work on the kicks and claps, but that should be fine. And if I really don't like it later, I can trim it somewhere else. But the whole point of bringing up the Oxford limiter here, this enhance curve, I love the enhance curve. This is like audio crack. You can get really addicted to it really fast. Before you know it, you have to put it on every mix, which I have definitely done for the last 12 years. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
They wanna see us down, so we stay freedom bound, but nothing can keep us down. We ain't scared to leave the ground, no.
See what I'm talking about? It can be subtle, but it lifts everything about the mix in a cool way. One thing to know about it is it's easy to overdo it. And once you turn it up, you can't turn it back down in terms of what you send your clients. So what I often do is like my first mix or two, this stays at 0. It stays like, between under 10. Staying that really just a little touch of that spice will do. And again, I'm using this to make sure I'm not really crushing or pounding my limiter at the end of the chain. But a little bit of that enhance goes a long way, and it's especially helpful as you get into mix revisions, as you're doing your 3rd or 4th pass on a mix, and they keep on feeling like they kind of want to add more. You just want to deliver them back something that gets them even more hype. This is kind of an easy way to add a little bit more of that. So yeah, keep this low in your first couple of revisions, start cranking it up as you get closer to your destination, and it just sounds wonderful. And then, I'm using the Pro L2 as just my very invisible, actually I love this on like that transparent setting. It doesn't have to do a lot. It's just got to be there to keep me from peeking out. And yeah, so guys, we still have a lot of tracks, a lot of vocal tracks to work on. Guitar balance, this guitar break thing that's happening in the chorus, I'm not feeling yet. But we've gotten to a general vibe, a general, kind of an idea of what a mix could sound like for the song. And since we're not done, that means we're going to come back. Not tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday. You guys let me know when you guys are free to come back here for another one. My hunch is like Wednesday or Thursday would be good. But yeah, we'll come back kind of later. Come back a little bit later and keep on working on this mix. And hopefully you guys find this really helpful to see an actual mix happening. Not just trying to race through and show off and sell you guys plugins. I'm trying to get a real mix done here. And then as we kind of get closer to the end, we can go through, we can play around with turning the Neve summing on and off. And I can answer even more of your guys' questions. Let me see if you guys have any other questions. Oh, when is Leggy coming on? Leggy is on Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m. PST. And he's gonna show you guys a bunch of cool production stuff inside of Luna. Spider-Man. I love it. Any other questions for me before I head out? Inflator, inflator. It's kind of like just to be clear, the inflator and the Oxford limiter are almost the same thing. I think it's a slightly different algorithm, but I might be totally wrong. Either way, I love the limiter one slightly more than the inflator one. The inflator one does a little too much for me. Should change all track colors to red and blue. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I could, but the more colors, the better, guys. It's all about when you zoom out into your beautiful window here that you have a beautiful piece of audio art ready, just begging you to mix it. All right, let's see. Any other chats? 3 p.m. Yep, you got it. Awesome. Any guys stay in the trial period of Luna plugins? And nothing to say on that one yet. This is just a little secret between all of us who are here right now. If you buy a UAD plugin, it resets your demos. Just know that. It resets your demos if you buy a plugin. So you can buy one, it resets all your demos. It's kind of cool. And right now I think the custom shop thing is active the whole time. So essentially all the stuff in the store, except for the new Luna packages, all the other UAD stuff is half off. So if you've been eyeing a plugin, this is a good time to go get it. Yep, I'm working 100% in the box here right now. And then hopefully, like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, this one's all in the box, but maybe at a later date, we'll come back and I'll show you guys how to set up analog summing in one of these mixes as well. What's my DSP load at the moment? Not very much. I'm at 36% right now. Again, I've got two X series interfaces, two octo satellites, and a twin quad in the back. So that's a lot of DSP. It's like 30 something DSPs, but you guys do know where I work. I get to have all the spoils. How to make the same session in Pro Tools run with the same number of plugins, and Luna session became too heavy and dropouts, cracking rendering above 100 to the red. If the render engine is up over 100, that means it's thinking too hard. So it's probably a CPU or RAM or something like that. This is Luna is kind of a balance between DSP processes and native processes, and it's kind of balancing all these things dynamically and trying to give you the best experience possible. Obviously, dropouts and cutouts are not the best experience possible, but my hunch is if it's something like that, it's probably your computer that's having trouble keeping up. I think you guys will have to check the website for what the exact system requirements are, but I'm running this on a really beefy i7 processor with like 32 gigs of RAM, a really beast video card, and obviously all the Thunderbolt Apollos. Yeah, dude, I hear you guys, man. Rock music, of course. Yeah, we're gonna this is the style and genre of music of which I enjoy listening to the most, but I also have a long history of being a huge rock and roll fan. I was in a Tool band, Tool cover band back in high school. So yeah, I also really, really love doing rock records. And yeah, maybe for, after we finish this mix all together, maybe we move on to something that's a little bit more rock or, more acoustic or folk or something. But yeah, the goal here is to give you guys a nice variety of records. Dun, dun, dun. Great. I'm so glad you guys learned some stuff and that you love the session. And shout out to my homie Johnny Burgos. He's been in there on the YouTube chat as well. This is his song. It's a song called "Keep You Down." It's going to be a new track on his new record that we're finishing up in hopefully the next couple months, or maybe even sooner, since we're both on lockdown and just creating and doing stuff like crazy. Yeah, all right, guys. I think this is where can we follow you in social? I don't do social media, so the people to follow would be Universal Audio, and that's at UAudio across all the platforms. Hit them up. Or if maybe that question wasn't for me, it was for Johnny, because Johnny's is at Johnny Burgos NYC on like Instagram and everywhere else, I believe. All right, nice guys, killer. So yeah, I think this is a good place to head off for some Luna after hours. I will be back in the same chair in the same studio, talking to all of you folks here in just like what's that, like 14 hours from now. So everybody have a great night, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow. Peace.